Yeah, okay, so let me show it to you again. This is the rubber piece. Yep, and it's giving me a pretty good, or I would say close to 100% air seal against the Firefly turret. Now this thing over here is listen carefully, a 30 mm UPVC pipe, and I layered it in E-tape so that it would touch this screw port. And on the other side, as you can see, I actually sleeved this vinyl tubing over on the receiving end, the male end of the screw port. Yep. What that basically does when I close it is to force this guy downwards, like so. Force it down, and it leans against the turret. Yep. And then this thing over here on the inside, that is the spacer PETG, which is the mirror image of this one over here. Now what this does is to keep the air output centered and straight along the topmost barrel of my Firefly turret. Now this is the reason why I had to add so much stuff like here and on the inside, just to make sure that the air output lines up perfectly against this barrel. It has to be straight. Alright, now on to the Firefly turret. So it's basically just a Firefly turret. I did some modifications to this half. As you can see, it's a lot of hot glue. I got a piece of Europet PETG, shoved it in, used a combination of two different washers. I know you can't really tell because of all the hot glue. Used a combination of two washers, one wider and one thinner, and then a machine screw over here. So the bigger washer would be resting against the lip of the Europet PETG, and I squeezed it down, so I kind of have an extended back portion of the Firefly turret rotating mechanism. And then what I did was I got this piece of this is 20 mm UPVC. I got this piece of 20 mm UPVC. I cut out a hole over here, got my Dremel, and I drilled a hole over here. Actually I drilled two. I don't know if you can see my screwdriver, but yeah, okay, follow the screwdriver in. Over here I drilled two holes, and all the way through to the rotating mechanism, the back part, and I screwed it down. So basically this UPVC pipe and the rotating mechanism, this half of it, are totally secured by screws. And then I shoved that in, and over here on this half, I know you can't see because it's all black hot glue, but there's also another two screws running from this side over to here. Alright, yeah, you can see the hot glue runs all the way on the inside, two sides, just to make sure that this piece is entirely secure. Now you can see I can support the entire blaster just by this particular UPVC piece. This gives my turret really good stability, and I can just rotate it anytime I want. Like that. I can grab the front and I can rotate it. Not a problem. Yep, and then that's just the turret work over here. And then yeah, so this is the new pump that I'm replacing the stock pump with. This is almost exactly the same as the one that Atani used, his Beto bike pump. And mine is called United Components. I picked this up in Indonesia at Carrefour for pretty cheap. About, I think it was like 8 Sing or 9 Sing or something like that, or maybe even cheaper, I'm not so sure. But I basically hot glued it down. And the reason why the pump is at an angle like that is because when you flip the handle of the pump, let me just try and pull out the handle of the pump. Yeah, see, it comes up over here, and I didn't want this to hit my my barrels of the turret. So yeah, that's why it's at an angle. These are all Europet PETG. I did very little dremeling work over here on the Firefly turret itself. One layer of E-tape. It depends on what kind of E-tape you use, but I used one layer of E-tape. Gooped it in, and this end is the other part of the Firefly turret. So yeah. Alright, on the inside here, this is a piece of 30 mm UPVC, 30, the same as this thing, with E-tape. As you can see, it's like a whole thick layer of E-tape. I have no idea how many rounds that is, but that makes a good barrel spacer on the inside. It's not moving easily. Yep, and it's a pretty good fit. I can squeeze it down and nothing really happens. Now I'm gonna flip this over so I can show you how I actually connected the pump to the tank. Alright, so here we are. Now you can have a clearer look at the rear loading slot over here. This is the rear loading slot, so just get a dart, put it in. It's you can see it on both sides. I have one slot each, and I basically dremeled the hole out here and one more here. Ran the tube from the pump over here into the side of the tank. All I did was just drill a hole in my tank, stuff this vinyl tubing in, use super glue, and then once the super glue dried, I gooped it in. This is a tank connector. The problem, the difference between mine and Atani's is Atani used a removable or non-fixed, non-permanent type of a connector. Mine is a fixed or permanent connector. The reason being because my vinyl tubing and his are slightly different. Mine's a little bit wider, and I picked up the same tubing connector from him, and I realized that mine is just slightly wider, and therefore it's not giving me a good seal. So yeah, and basically that's it. So yeah, one more closer look at how the shell and the turret works, or how they sit in that. And yeah, so over here, so all the mechanisms and everything on the inside. Yep, I'm sorry it's so blur. I guess my camera doesn't really autofocus once you hit the record button. So yep. If you're wondering what this means, 8 times chalat chalat. It's a Singlish, or I would say Singaporean slang word, Singlish word. Chalat is more of an expression or expressive word. I guess if I were to put it into English, if I were to translate it, it would be something like serious, like 8 times chalat chalat. So it's like 8 times serious, something like that. Whenever something crappy happens to you, you can just say it's chalat, like what chalat man, I lost my wallet. Yeah, it's like, oh man, serious man, I lost my wallet, like shitty. It was a slang that we used to use, my generation. We used to say 10 times chalat chalat. It's like you do something wrong and you get 10 times the punishment worth of it. Like oh man, the guy fucked up. Oh shit man, kena 10 times chalat chalat, something like that. So yeah, 8 times chalat chalat, because you know, I mean, it's not the most powerful blaster. It does pack a bad punch. I mean, it packs a huge amount of air release, this thing, even though it's a second gen with a smaller tank. But one hit from this guy close range, chalat chalat. So 8 times chalat chalat, because it's 8. Yeah. So as I was speaking to you in the video, I mean, in the video write-up, I was actually mentioning that this guy, it was really hard for to line up the air release output to the Firefly turrets, to the barrel. So yeah, that's why you see I couldn't show you in the video, but spacer PTG is here and the same one on the other side, and then I have that sleeve, the top vinyl tubing sleeve on the top screw post is pushing down. So the white piece of UPVC, CPVC, that white piece, the end cap, that's basically the air release output. So it's kind of like this, two spacer PTGs on each side, squeezing it and making sure that it's in the middle, and then that sleeve is pushing it down. So when it's angled down, this is like the Firefly turret, it's angled down, it's kind of like squeezing against. So I'm trying to line up the air release hole with the Firefly rear loading slot, and yeah, to try my best to make it like click nicely and land on the air release slot each time. Now I've already preloaded some darts because I'm gonna do a firing demo, but I'm gonna try and hit up an empty slot because I kept a few empty. Yeah. So the thing was, I needed to practice like with each turret rotation and try and get it to line up perfectly. I still have to practice, but anyway, yeah, so it's getting a pretty good seal. Yeah, it's coming off of my finger because of the barrel spaces. Let me see what I can do. Please give me a moment. Try to wiggle this guy off. Okay, so I got the barrel spaces off, and let me try and show you the air seal. Yep, so I'll hold it down. Mine fires from the topmost barrel. So yeah, here we go. So my finger's off, and air pressure. I think I can do the same thing again. Yep, leftover air pressure inside. Yeah, So that's 100% seal right there. Let me just put the barrel spacer on again. Okay, so now I got the barrel spacers back in place. On to quick firing demo. I'll be loading it with 3 Stefans from Atani again, of course, and I'll be firing it there. Just a quick one. I'm gonna load 3 in just to show you the rear loading slots, and I'll be firing off all 8. The ranges are the usual Buzz B Big Blast or the usual Lego Atlantis Harpoon Blaster ranges, so I'm not gonna just pump it up all the way. Yeah, so as you know, my OPRV is plugged, and yeah, so I'll just be pumping it up 4 times, okay? Here we go. So the rear loading slot is a bit tight, so you gotta make sure that you twist your darts in or squeeze your dart in nicely. Yep, goes in like that. Next slot. And the last slot. Oh, there is a dart over here already. Let me find. Ah, okay. So this one. Alright. So yep, I'm gonna go ahead and fire. Like this handle. Yep. Last one. Yep, so all 8 shots out. My 8x charat Lego Atlantis Harpoon Blaster. Yep. Okay, so if you don't have access to a Firefly turret, you can try to use SorrowX's Firefly turrets, because SorrowX, I heard that he makes a really mean Firefly turret. Yeah, for he has like Firefly turrets, or I don't know if it's homemade or something like that for sale. Apparently Atani has one, and a couple of guys in Singapore are getting some, like Hanzo and Expired Yogurt. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. All the mods that I've done, I credit it to the other nerfers, because you know, like for the Sylow Conjugator, and for, like, you know, for Atani for his video write-ups, and yeah, it took me some time to figure out how to try and make the Firefly rotating mechanism a bit more solid. But yeah, if you ask me, I think it's all worth it. If you have a chance to, try and make one. It's fun. Right, thanks for watching, and I hope that the video tutorial was informative to you guys. Peace.